Episode 29. So we're back. I don't know. I just got some shit I feel like I just want to get off my chest. Just venting a little bit. I don't know, man. I really like coaching. It's been really fun, especially with the start of this season. Just playing with, getting acclimated to all the kids, the new kids, getting back in sync with the veterans and just, everyone getting on the same page. Our team this year compared to last year is the world of a difference. And that's needless to say, like, they still have so much work to do. And I just struggle with, I wake up and I got to go to this other job that's not my first job of choice just every day, And I don't want to sit there. I want to prepare for what I'm going to teach these kids next. And I feel like I'm just struggling with there's not enough time to teach them everything they need to know. There's not enough time. I got to remember to go work with the catchers. But these kids are a little bit behind. They're learning the game of baseball where some people are blessed to have been playing since they were 6. They've been playing for a couple months. So I can't just say, go hit them fly balls. Like when I was in high school, you would be able to have one of us hit fly balls and we would work on our technique still while you went and did something with the pitchers or catchers. But I feel like I can't be... You can't leave them alone because they're just going to form bad habits until they really understand the game.
Right.
And so I'm just like... I feel like I'm in every direction because I want them to get the most out of it, but then there's not enough time. And then I'm sure there's a lot of coach out there that relate to me because they're coaching, but they also have day jobs. So that's just like some bullshit that I feel like I deal with on a regular basis that sucks. And, you guys aren't out there alone.
Yeah, there's never enough time in a day,
Yep. And even the kids, they go to school all day, so it's not you can get extra work in with them,
And plus they're tired after being in school all day, and then to try to get a lot out of them. But there's a lot of kids that just can't wait for the practice to start because they're tired of school. So it's frustrating because there's so much to teach in so little time, and that's the bane of coaching.
Yeah, and our catcher is. He's our better player on the team. He's a good athlete. He's very smart. I think he's got the highest GPA on the team, and it translates to the field with how well he picks up, right? But we need to have a backup catcher because sometimes he pitches. And he just shouldn't have to catch every single inning.
Right.
And, you got to find the time to work with him, and he needs to take another catcher under his wing, and there's just so much development flying around, and it's a good thing. But it's finding that right pace of moving too fast and moving too slow, and making sure the kids are getting what you're saying. Because kids don't speak up. I wish they would more, but they don't say, like, I don't get what you're saying. They just say, they just nod their head. You have to catch the vibe of that didn't resonate well.
Right. We had half a gym today. And how much can you get done in an hour and a half in a half a gym? So
yeah.
And volleyball came in after us, so we just did what we could. We had pitchers throw bullpens, kids working on their swing. We had one of your ex-teammates, he brought in an old drill about using the top hand the right way, top hand, bottom hand, but he says so many of these guys have weak top hands, and I just wanted them to work one-handed. I said, good, that's good. Bring back the old drills,
Yeah.
In a confined space, that helps a lot. And then it takes us 15 minutes to set up the hitting cage because it's not hanging and it's not off a wall, it's freestanding. So we got some bolts missing, so there's been a couple collapses. So it's a heavy thing, it's a heavy cage. So we get that up, it's 15 minutes and 5 or 6 guys can hit. An hour and a half is gone. And the coaches are throwing, but you can't get everybody in. We have 24 kids in the team.
Yeah.
So,
and just like that, practice is over.
it was just like that. Like tomorrow is early dismissal and nobody's using it. So 2:30 to 5, we'll try to get everything in. We've just barely touched on base running, barely touched on just base running in general. Base stealing. watching keys, pickoff moves by our pitchers. We barely worked on that. We worked on it outside when we had some lucky weather last week. So, but in the gym, half a gym, we have to frost off with us. That's 40. That's 42 kids in a gym that's not regulation size. So it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, just speaking of that, we've worked on some rundowns. We've worked on some defense, a lot of double play, a lot of technique work, some first and third situations, trying to get their brain going a little bit. We've done a shit ton of PFPs because I'm a big fan of when pitchers field their position. I mean, that wins and loses game. I mean, you saw even at the college level, but
that's the number one thing, breakdown in defense, because pitchers just want to throw and they forget about. Look at John Lester.
yeah,
I mean, he can't even throw the ball to first base, and now he's working on throwing the ball one hop to the first base. And PFP, pitchers fielding, wins and loses games on every level.
yeah. And I've just we haven't really gotten to pickoffs or base running yet, and that's something that's got to come next. But I mean, I've been really hammering the defense and all of these communication drills, just communication with the infield and the left and right fielders, communication with just constant hammering balls in the gap and throwing the cuts, because the minute that these kids started understanding they needed to talk,
right,
the whole energy of the team started to get up. Because next thing you know, you got guys screaming at each other saying, cut, 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 left, left, left. You got everybody talking and communicating like they actually know each other.
Yeah.
And the energy of the practice just rose.
Right.
So now they come and it's a little more relaxed, physically,
right,
but alert mentally. And so I felt like that was a great way to start the season, with just forcing these kids to talk to each other.
right.
Because now it's balls hit, left, left, left. Now they know. So now we can move on to other things where they're a little more complex, and they already know from the start we have to talk to each other. So, I mean, and that just keeps practice light too, because now kids aren't so afraid to talk. At least they could crack a joke when they're standing around in 38-degree weather. But yeah, I mean, base running, holding runners, taking a proper lead off, stealing balls in the dirt, bunt defense, just there's so much to go over in so little time. First game's coming soon.
Right. Our first game's Monday.
Yeah.
And we're having one more practice tomorrow before our first game, because Saturday we got kids missing because of ACT testing and some school-related functions. So I'll give them 2 days off, and then they play 5 games in a row, weather permitting. They have another weekend off on St. Patty's weekend, and then they're going to play 2 more games, and they're going to Florida, because then we have spring break. So they're going to Florida. So it's a lot of games in a short period of time early in the season where guys could get hurt. And again, watching kids throw in cold weather and not warming up properly leads to injury, and you have to really be cognizant of that. And if you're not, we're going to have kids will not make it through the spring.
Yep. Here's a general tip too. I mean, for your players, for anyone really, but pitchers especially, shortstops especially, before you throw, you should be sweating.
Yeah, it's just
it doesn't matter the temperature. You should come out in layers. If
it's like
cold.
layup lines in basketball. Yeah. You better be sweating before you play. You can't go out there cold.
You need to get a sweat going.
Yeah, absolutely.
You shouldn't throw.
So maybe we do run before we work, but it's just like this, just easy loping running, and
it should be, in my opinion, a 10-minute dynamic, intense warm up.
Yes.
Every guy on the team should be sweating, and if they're not sweating in the cold, then in my opinion, they're not wearing enough clothes. They're going to get sick.
Yeah.
They should wear enough layers when you're outside. 10-minute intense sweating.
And
85 degrees, 10-minute intense sweating.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You should be ready to
and
go.
Coaches will argue that cuts into our practice time about working on baseball. I said, do you want injured players?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want injured players? Cuts into your practice time. Well, okay. Let's just go in right away and some kid hurts his arm. Or they're not even warmed up. They hurt their leg because they haven't warmed up at all.
Oh yeah, they sprint hard to second base and now you pull a quad.
Yeah, they pop a quad, they pop a ham. hamstring, they're done.
And not even to mention just when you're sweating and you're heated and you're warm, you're alert, you're focused.
Yeah.
If you come into things cold and your bodies are stiff and they're not reactionary like that, you're not ready to play. You got to get some sort of. Why do you think people work out in the morning? They feel rejuvenated after. Your body's just ready to go. You shouldn't just show up and expect to do something, going from sitting in a chair to swinging a bat and trying to hit a double. I mean, you got to warm up.
Yeah.
No, none of this. None of this. That's after. That could wait. But beforehand, you got to move your arms. You got to pump your legs. You got to get.
We did after practice today. We ran suicide stair drill, and we timed them, and they were dead after it. But they said, "Hey, our arms feel loose after this running." I said, "No kidding."
Yeah.
So if you do it before practice, it's even better.
Yeah, it is. It's good. It's good for the body. You got to get warm. I mean, I don't know. It hurts. It hurts me now, especially to throw. If I throw a baseball without warming up, I can feel it hurt.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably from all the times I never warmed up.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean.
It's general wear and tear too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, I can't stress that enough.
I agree.
So, what's up on Monday? You got a home game?
Yeah, we play on turf. So we play 3 games on turf this week, and it's supposed to be 41 out, and the rule is anything over 40 you play. But
is it 40? I thought it was 38 or something.
I checked it. 38's on Tuesday, and I don't think we're going to play on Tuesday. That's because both games are at 7:45. 41 is not going to be 41. It's going to be 30.
So where's the game at?
Addison and Set.
Oh, the
Kerry Woodfield. Yeah.
I haven't been there yet.
It's nice. It's nice.
So what are some other? I mean, obviously time constraints, but what are some other issues you've been running into since the season started?
We have too many players.
Yeah, like on each team or like as a whole.
I just worry about right. We have a new frost-off coach who's really good, and he follows what we're trying to do in the varsity because he was with us last year. We're having trouble with the guy who was the head sophomore coach last year. They're button heads, and the latest thing is whatever the varsity coaches say. If I haven't say it, don't do it. That's about hitting. So I'm going to have a talk with them tomorrow because what we're teaching and what our absolutes are is the same for every level of baseball. And there's certain absolutes that are, proper balance, how you attack the pitch, where you attack the pitch, how your eyes are focused on where you start your eyes when the pitcher starts his delivery and where they end up, just certain absolutes and grip. And obviously there's a disconnect between this guy and the new guy. Mm-hmm. And the old guy, he's just, he's not old, but the guy from the previous couple years, he has his way of doing things. He was a travel coach, and he was basically, fly by the seat of his pants. And stuff he did, he either learned when he was in high school, which was a long time ago, and a lot of it's been taken out because it's not right.
Yeah. Due
to research, watching how the game's evolved, and he still teaches the same way. That's the difference between a really good coach and a guy who's stuck in when he was playing is enormous. Because a really good coach keeps on growing, and they keep on doing research, and they keep on watching and observing about what is successful, and then they learn how to incorporate it. They learn how to teach it and then incorporate it in depending on what type of player it is. I mean, you can't teach guys like you. I couldn't teach you the same way I taught a guy who was like 6'5", mm-hmm. or somebody who had not the same skill level as you. You have to be able to teach many different ways, and this guy wants to teach one way, and it's not right. So we're going to have a little discussion because I'm the head of the program, and if he doesn't like it, then that responsibility is going to be taken away from him because he has a lot of good traits. He loves baseball, number one. Number two, he's reliable, and number three, he runs a good practice. I mean, the drills are good, but hitting and pitching are so specialized, you really have to know what you're doing. And there's so many coaches that don't know anything about pitching, nor do they attempt to try to learn about pitching.
Yeah.
Find the best arm and try to throw it until it drops. And everybody thinks they're an expert on hitting, and most of them are teaching it the wrong way. So
Pitching, man. Pitching blows my mind. I mean,
nobody.
There's just so much about pitching, though. It's not even the mechanics itself.
And now I heard on the score that, well, it's better than if just everybody starts throwing for the stretch. Why do people throw from the windup now? Do you think they throw harder? It's been proven, according to their stats, that they throw like 0.0001% harder.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the reason that you throw from the windup. And and the reason people want to throw from the stretch, because it's easy to teach.
Yeah.
Getting a windup is hard to teach.
It is very hard.
But you have to be on time.
There's a rhythm to it,
yeah,
which affects timing. It affects the hitter's timing.
It's a great part of baseball, the unique windups. And here's the reason why you use a windup. And again, you have to use the rubber the right way. You have to, everything has to be on time. When you land, you have to be, ready to launch rather than have your hand down. There's a lot but it's there for deception, because as the guys from the score didn't know, it's easy to pick up people from the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, little kids, they were talking about pros. Little kids, okay, I could see it that people want to teach them from the stretch, but you try to teach the windup early so kids can keep on working on it and keep on working on it, rather than let's take the easy way out and just teach them from the stretch. There's no leg lift. They just go like this. It's like throwing from the outfield, throw them here. Oh, it's easy. Okay, I threw strikes with nothing on it.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, we got these big guys, and they throw from the stretch, and they hit their targets. You're doing a kid a disservice. He's not deceptive. When he gets on a higher level, kids will be picked up pretty easy. The guys in the pros that throw from the stretch, they're usually relievers, number one. Number two, they throw 95 to 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. It's brute force and velocity rather than deception. Okay, here it is. That's tough to hit too. But when you don't have the overpowering stuff, you want to be as deceptive as possible. And what would be even better is if you had deception and velocity. So these guys don't know what they're talking about, even though they say they do. They just put it in your face. Hey, you don't need to have a windup. Just stretch. It's easy. Yeah, it's easy to teach because most people don't know pitching.
Yeah, you know what I love about that? Which is like spot on for me, because sometimes if I really only see a kid as a reliever and he's having trouble being on time, I'll tell him to go from the stretch.
That's great teaching.
But most of the time, I make them go to the stretch mid trying to do windup, because I demonstrate how much easier it is to be on time. I say, because I want them to slide step most righties, right?
Right.
With a guy on first, so I tell him go from the stretch. And now remember, if you're going to be on time from the stretch, the minute your foot starts to go to the plate, your hands break and start to go to the plate. So they throw it, and they throw a little fastball right at the knees, and I say, so what was wrong with that? Nothing. Okay, yeah, because you were right here when you were supposed to be. Your glove was out in front, you landed in a great spot, your arm was in a great spot. Now you go from the windup, and you're all herky-jerky, you're not in rhythm, your foot's about to land, you've barely broken your hands apart. Why do you think you're rushing and throwing the ball high? And so, I break it down, and I make them do both, and they see the difference now. I'm like, look, everything's in sync. Your leg, at the peak of your leg kick, when you start to drop, your hand should break. You should be in sync with each other. You can't move your leg toward home and then let your hand drop out of your glove going like this.
Right.
You gotta have hand speed. You gotta have better arm action. And when they go from the stretch, in my opinion, it's a great example for them to understand how they need to be on time with the windup. But the windup is great too. I mean, you see a lot of the Japanese pitchers who are just really messing with a pitcher's head too.
Oh yeah.
The way they perfect some of these things, I don't even like playing with them in the video game.
I know.
Because it takes forever.
Yeah.
But as a hitter, you're like, holy shit.
When's the ball going to come? Because they're hiding it. They're doing.
Yeah.
They get it.
It's effective.
So yeah, I mean, one thing the Americans can learn from the Japanese is how deceptive they are. Now the Latin American countries, they're deceptive too.
Yeah.
And then we want to take the easy way out. Okay, let's just throw from the stretch.
And not to mention the good base runners. If you're throwing from the stretch, they're going to try to pick up tendencies early because you fall into natural rhythms whether there's a guy on base or not.
And again, pros can do it because they already have the natural stuff. The youngest kids, they should learn to wind up right away, okay? Because I've seen the younger kids, they're like playing catch with the catcher. That's not pitching. Okay, we'll throw from the stretch. Because you don't know anything from the stretch. You don't know how to teach from the stretch, coach. So learn that or don't teach pitching. And then all they do, well, we're going to take the biggest kid or the best kid and just throw his arm out because nobody else can do it. And that's why we ruin half our pitchers because, again, pitching and hitting are so specialized. And there's way more people who proclaim themselves as hitting experts. And the pitching guys, as I said, okay, let's just throw from the stretch. Okay, throw as hard as you can. You make these guys afraid. It's just negative teaching.
You know what I think coaches and players should be doing more? They should be talking more about movement and location.
Right.
Even if you're 12 and you only throw a fastball. Because there's a lot of movement you can put on a fastball if you have the right mechanics. Because if you're 12, who knows what you're going to grow up to be? You might throw 90.
And who said
you
that?
Might throw 70.
Who said that 9 million times? Greg Maddux.
There you go.
Movement and location. Why should I throw it this way when I can get a guy out this way? And I know all his tendencies and where to throw it. And he knew, we were talking this day in practice. You should know when the ball leaves your hand, where it's going to go and how much movement you're going to get every single time. That's what Greg Maddux did. Mm-hmm. He knew when he had such a disciplined delivery and release that he knew exactly. If he twisted his wrist this way, he'd get 6 to 8 inches. If he did it that way, he'd get sink, 10 to 12 inches. And he said, that's pitching.
Yeah.
I told our pitchers today, do you think just because you're thinking outside, you're thinking you want to get it to move, you think if you don't put action on the ball, you think it's going to go there? Do you think it's going to magically, okay, I'm looking there, so it's going to go there with a lot of movement? No, you have to provide the action yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, and it has to be.
That's why often you don't look there, though, because you know it's going to move. You got to have visual aids.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Curveballs, I used to aim at a lefty's shoulder for a curveball. I would throw it at him because I knew that was my visual aid for making it backdoor him.
Yeah, so we had a kid today that he could not hit the outside corner, and because he was opening up too early or not rotating around the spine, and if he dropped his arm on his arm side on his follow through, and if you do that, you can't rotate around your spine because your arm's already dropped. So to me, that's a lot of fun, but when you just pitch from the stretch, all you have to do is go like this. You don't learn any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But he learned it, and he got better as we did a 40-pitch bullpen, and he wanted to stay out there because, I get what you mean, and I know when I make a mistake, that's half the battle.
That's the best, too, when kids start to feel what they're doing wrong.
I also talked to them about, you have to know, like all great pitchers do, that when the ball comes out of your hand, you know where it's going and how much it's going to move.
Yeah.
And that's when you know you're a pitcher. Not say, hey, I hope and pray it's going to go there because I'm looking there. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of guys, they look at their target and they hit their target, but they hit their target with no movement at all, and the ball gets smashed.
Yeah, I was just saying, a straight fastball goes a long way.
Right. So, hey, I hit my target. Yeah, with nothing on it.
Plenty of reason right there why just throwing hard doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's great, and it's good for getting scouted and stuff, but You need to throw hard with movement, with location.
Okay.
Because an MLB player will pound a fastball.
Yeah, you were a hitter. I mean, and they have no problems with a straight fastball. They know it's coming. Mm-hmm. All they have to do is time it up. And
I've never had a problem with a straight fastball.
There you go.
I mean,
there you go.
It's just,
I know it's coming, and I know it's going to be straight. And I said, just time it up.
They all provide more of the power. I'm not an overly big guy. I'm just normal. But the straight fastball is a straight fastball.
Get the bat started in the zone. Make sure you're in the ball's path, and it's gone. Mm-hmm. Like you did against Taft, with your college coach recruiting you there, and first bat of the game, you hit a home run.
Yeah.
Just the guy was throwing hard,
knee high down the middle.
Yeah, over the center fielder's head, home run, and it was way over the center fielder's head.
Yeah, that was nice. Felt good.
Yeah, that was our only run of the game.
All right, I got something for you. Well, two things, actually. First, can you, for me and probably for people watching, when you say rotate around the spine, can you describe that better? Because I'm not sure I fully understand what you say when you say that.
Well, just you rotate around your spine when you hit, right? It's the same thing.
So you're just trying to give a better visual for that rotational action?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like rotating the hip. It's a hip-shoulder separation, but, you stay connected to that's why we talk about the back elbow as a hitter, being close in, because then you're connected to the spine and you'll be able to rotate to the ball. It's hip rotation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. No, I just didn't know if you were referring to something else.
No.
Because for me, that's a hard thing to picture.
But you watch all these pitchers, they rotate so hard around that. And that's what we tell kids not to heel land, because that stops the spine rotation.
Yeah, I mean, because in my opinion, when you heel land, the hips are open already,
right.
early, so it's spent. There's no forceful.
And again, then the kids ask, "Well, we see these guys in the big leagues; they heel land." I said, they have a short shelf life, because it puts so much strain in their arm, because you just stop the deceleration process. So you can get away with it for a while. A lot of them are short armers too. You can get away from it a while, but when you stop, you're not using your lower half right, and you put all that strain on your arm, you got a short shelf life as a pitcher. Okay, well, he's a heel lander. He throws 99, and two years later, he's throwing 92, and still straight. So boom.
Yep.
But yeah, having a bent front leg into a firm front leg helps you to rotate around.
Yeah.
And, if your belly button only goes so far, that means you're not using your rotation around the spine.
Yeah.
To your best physical ability.
All right. And then here's the other thing. This is something I've struggled with for the last few years with one of my players. He's not a big kid at all. He's actually really short. He's shorter than everybody, and he's a good player. He's fundamentals. He knows the game.
I've seen the kid.
He picks up quick, right?
Yeah.
He has actually good swing.
Authority.
It's a good swing, no authority. If he can just get some more bat speed, if he can get to the ball a little bit faster, he'd shoot some line drives. He'd hit singles. He's not very fast.
Does he cock his wrist?
He'd hit singles.
Or does he have flat wrists?
They're probably a little more flat, but I just need him to get to the ball faster, and I'm having trouble getting through to him with that. So, what are some other ways to help with bat speed?
That's just.
I mean, I know that's
It's swing with the top hand, swing with the bottom.
Just got to go right to the ball. I know that.
Yeah, but you also have to. He's obviously does not have a lot of hand strength, and the shoulders and arms follow the hands. So I know he's not big here, but he's got to have you got to exaggerate. He's got to do that bat drill where you swing for 60 seconds as fast as you can for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
That improves your strength in your hands, and
you
can do closed bat where you visualize, and top and bottom hand just swinging as fast as you can like this.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it. It's like we always tell about training. Training you could, rather than with one arm, it's much easier to get stronger and quicker and faster using one-legged drills than two-legged drills, or one-arm drills rather than two-arm drills, like dumbbells, okay, or barbell. Which one's better? Well, dumbbells are, because you're isolating one arm. So yeah, just top hand, bottom hand. Do a lot of tennis ball squeezes. You know, if he ever has that rolling 5-pound weight on a bar, you should do that. Anything to improve his forearm strength, which is squeezes, hand grips. Make sure his wrists are cocked, because he's not a big guy. And he also should, and I learned this from a website, and it's really right, Pure Swing. You should sink into the ground when you swing, and using the ground as leverage and torque. So he's got to do that when he's a little guy, and he's a little guy, he can use the ground a lot better.
Yeah, because with his weight and strength, just flipping at it or just having a good swing mechanic isn't enough. I mean, you have to.
Well, you just might have said
really
something where it really is
force.
a problem, flipping at it rather than swinging at it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to try.
It's got to be force.
There's a difference.
He has good hand-eye.
Yeah.
He makes contact in the middle of the barrel. Okay.
It's just like it doesn't jump, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
you got to. Your goal should be, I feel like, to swing through the ball.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because our first baseman, one of our first basemen, we have two guys. One's a sophomore, one's a junior. The sophomore, he's 6'2" and he hits the ball with zero authority. I mean, and we were having trouble figuring out. And one of my ex-players, one of your teammates, who's now on my staff, he said, this guy's got a terrible top hand. So he made him do top hand drills, and he goes in the cage, and all of a sudden, using the top, he's hitting the ball with more authority than he ever has in the 2 years he's been there. And so he comes over and said he wasn't using his top. He had a weak top hand, dropping, coming underneath the ball, in the bottom half of the ball, top half of the ball. Everything is like the bottom hand. He can't reroute the bat because he's not using his top hand at all. So he just needs to strengthen that and keep on and improve the fundamentals of top hand hitting, and he was crushing it.
Yeah.
Some guys use too much top hand, but that's in the pros.
Yeah.
That's why they end up trying to take the top hand off the bat. But that's not. So many kids, 90% of them don't use the top hand correctly. They drop it.
Yeah. I got to get back to that, doing some one-arm stuff.
But he said, remember you taught me that, and we got away from it because, just probably my mistake, because we're so rushed we didn't have a chance to do it. But he brought it up today, and kids were gravitating toward him, and there was 2 or 3 of them that got it better immediately by using the top hand. I mean, when a ball moves like it does, like it's cutting or it's tailing, you can't use your bottom arm or bottom hand to reroute the bat. It's got to be the top hand. And plus,
by the time your top hand gets to the ball,
you see it moving. Right. Okay, it moves. Okay, okay, I can reroute the bat.
Yep, and now
reroute the barrel.
If that thing's weak,
yeah, what's going to happen?
Now you got it like this versus here.
Plus, things that I never heard that other than what we've talked about. But the top hand takes the spin off the pitch. You got a lot of spin coming in the pitch, and that top hand, if you just swing with the bottom hand, the ball's, it's going to pop up. It's, but that top hand takes the spin off that pitch and creates your spin.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a perfect storm where you use that spin and the force you created with the top hand, and then the extension with the whole swing, and you create home run power.
Yeah. You know what's weird? You ever see a pitch knuckle after it gets hit?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's crazy.
I've it happened to me a couple times where I hit like a line drive.
Why is that?
I'm not sure. That one I'm not sure about. But it's a normal pitch.
And it's not from somebody throwing a knuckleball. It's just, okay, he must have hit that so dead on that he took the spin off the ball.
Yeah, I did it maybe once, twice, 3 times. Just right off the bat, it just knuckles into the outfield. I'm like, that is...
Maybe, it's crazy.
I don't see that often. But that's weird.
And usually what happens is the outfielder drops the ball.
Yeah.
Or it fumbles around in his glove.
And those are the ones that it's like a hard line drive still, and then it dies down.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's all I got for today. That was pretty good.
That was a lot.
Episode 29, right?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good episode.
All right.
Hopefully we'll see you soon. And, you know, the high school season is starting really quickly. So we'll have a lot of stories, and hopefully a lot of people will write in and we'll be able to answer some of their questions. So until next time, Dave and Joe saying so long.